And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
But you also told the American people they had to distance by 6 feet. They had to wear masks. But let's also talk a little bit further about the type of science that you represent. NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from drug makers, a fact that's been hidden. Let's talk about the fact about, is it right for scientists and doctors getting paid by the American people, government taxpayer paychecks, to get patents where they're paid millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in royalty fees, especially when the NIH and these government agencies, most powerful agencies in our country, are recommending medical suggestions and advice and making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor, you're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes. No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
objection.
objection.
I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time, Mr. Raskin.
Gentlelady will suspend.
Mr. Chairman,
Point of order.
just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yes, because in my time, that man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in
Gentlelady will
prison.
suspend.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. All of you censored commoners, thanks for joining us today on this beautiful Monday in the middle of clown world chaos that we're all living through right now. Holy crap, all kinds of crazy stuff going on as usual. Fauci getting grilled by Congress. Trump raised $200 million in 3 days after the conviction. INFOWARS under fire, possibly being shut down. They tried multiple times over the weekend, and Jones and others have been camped out at the INFOWARS studio trying to prevent that from happening. Last night, Doc Pete Chambers showed up, drove 16 hours to go defend the property. He's a former Green Beret colonel, said that there were a bunch of Mac v. SOG Vietnam-era vets coming in on the way to help defend the property. Hopefully it doesn't turn into an ALAMO-type situation. We're going to have to check during the broadcast and see if there's any updates going on with that. But thank you guys all for being here. I'm Lord Sterling, your host. We broadcast live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m.-ish time. We're operating on ish time, as you guys know, a.k.a. Lord Tardy, my nickname according to the audience. Yeah, we broadcast 6:30 p.m.-ish Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Make sure to use hashtag CommonCensored when you share the broadcast on X, where you can find us at _Common Censored. Links to all of the content, articles, videos, etc. that we'll be playing today will be listed down in the description after the broadcast, along with timestamps courtesy of Mama Mac. So if you're watching this later on and you need to focus your attention to maximize efficiency of your time, head on down to the description, look at what various topics may interest you, and hop directly to the timestamps so you're not wasting time watching a big, long, 3 potentially hour broadcast. And if you want to support Mama Mac and fam, head on over to alplama.com, your new herbal health guru with natural tinctures to aid any of the various ailments that you guys may be suffering from. They've got something for everybody, and they'll help you out. They got great customer service and all kinds of good stuff over there. Check it out, alplama.com. Alplama, yuck. It tastes bad, but it does good. That's right, Mama Mac. And if you want to support the show directly, you can head on over to our link tree. patreon.com/Common Censored, where you can support us monthly via Subscribe Star and Locals, or make one-time donations with Cash App, Venmo, I think PayPal, etc. Thanks again, guys, for being here. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We are not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. I love that part. That cracks me up every time. All right, let's get into the news, guys. This was over on X, post from Colin Rugg. MTG calling for the imprisonment of Dr. Fauci to his face, as she cites a new report where NIH scientists made over $700 million on COVID royalties. NIH scientists made $700 million in royalties from drug makers, a fact that's been hidden. Is it right for scientists and doctors getting paid by the American people, government taxpayer paychecks to get patents where they're paid millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in royalty fees? I don't think so. Sounds a little bit corrupt to me. Do you think that's appropriate, Shaq? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that? Yeah, I don't think so. Mr. Fauci, I like that, refusing to call him by his title. He's only a doctor of death, in my opinion. Let's hop over to our next topic for the day. Actually, real quick, we'll show this little meme first. This is when when it's June and your kid comes home June 1st with the Walking Dead meme.
Oh no. Oh no.
Carl's got the gay pride flags. All the flags. No, Carl, you should have stayed in the house, Carl. You should have stayed in the house, Carl. Stay in the house, Coral. God damn. Oh, yeah, so we're in the month of gay pride at this point. So brace yourselves for all the chaos and propaganda that will accompany that as they rub their sexual proclivities in our faces for an entire month. George Washington gets a day, but the gays get a month. Think about that. It's a little bit fucked up, in my opinion. Trump campaign raises staggering $200 million since Thursday's conviction, in a massive, massive display of support for Trump's sheepdog. I see him asking, Sterling shaved? Well, it's kind of funny. Because I went into the bathroom earlier to trim up everything, and my little clipper broke. So where I tried to leave a length on the side, but it pretty much buzzed, and I was like, "Fuck! Now I got to cut the whole thing off." So I'm gonna have to get a new clipper. Oh man, that's why it may look all uneven. Because the shave was like, it was all over the place. Some short, some long. I was like, fuck, I'm just going to have to roll with it for a few days. It happens. So yeah, if Democrats needed further confirmation that prosecuting Donald Trump on an obscure misdemeanor elevated to a felony just for him, well, the same DA reduced 60% of felonies to misdemeanors last year. The Trump campaign has raised over $200 million since Thursday's verdict in the former president's New York hush money trial. And we all know Trump doesn't need money, so to speak, but this is exactly what I wanted to see, setting new fundraising records with this whole bullshit conviction. Philip Panchaud, Congress trying to pass a bill to eliminate Secret Service for any convicted felon. That's right. This could be an attempt at some kind of administrative assassination where they get him on trumped up charges, to use a pun, and they put him in jail for felonies that don't make any sense, that are actually misdemeanors. And it's all the checks were repayment for that $130,000 debt, just broken up into a bunch of different charges. So it all should have been one charge, one misdemeanor, if you can even consider that a misdemeanor, which it isn't, in my opinion. So yeah, I got a big gap right here, whatever, right to the face. Threeper, thanks for pointing that out, Threeper. No, it's all good. Hilarious. Shit's funny, you just got to roll with it. Who cares? So yeah, this is crazy. Of that, 70 million of some small donors, 30% of the total were first-time donors to a political campaign, which says a lot. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Really glad that this has played out this way. One lady gave $100 million, and she's got some shady connections, I believe. But you know, they're planning global depopulation and everything like that. So maybe some sinking rats are actually leaving. Maybe some rats are actually leaving the sinking ship. It's entirely possible. Oh man, unique prepper. Yeah, that sounds a little bit difficult. I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. So yeah, it could be worse for sure. Could be worse. Yeah, this is absolutely great to see. Mass outpouring of support behind Donald Trump. Quote, let's check out this little interview with Eric Trump here.
This might be a little inside information, but as I was leaving my house about 37 seconds ago, I asked my wife, what are we up to now? And she said, just in terms of small dollar, we're well over $70 million. This is $21 donations, $43 donations, right? Small dollar donations. If you add the large dollar donations to it, you're over $200 million. But you're over $70 million. And by the way, Maria, 30% of those people have never been seen before by a political party, right? I mean, these are Americans who are pissed off. They're coming out of the woodwork, and they want to support a guy that they just believe is getting bamboozled by a system. And we saw it with impeachment 1. We saw it with impeachment 2. We see it where they weaponize every liberal DA and AG across the country with one intent: to take him down, to slander him, to ruin his reputation, to try and divide his family, to try and bankrupt him, to throw him in jail, to do whatever the hell they can do. And America sees through it. They know exactly what's going on.
Yep, we can see through it. We know exactly what's going on. $200 million in just a couple of days. Remember a few weeks ago, the Democrats were trying to act all big and bad when they raised $25 million in a day. And then it was like the next day, Trump held a fundraiser and raised $50 million. Shattered his own record here with $53 million in a single day. Let's hop over to Valuetainment, over to PBD. We're at the 1910 mark. All throughout this video, they were talking about this, but let's check some of this out.
Date that they put it for the judge is when?
July 11th.
July 11th. Okay, the debate is June 27th.
Yeah,
the RNC is, I believe,
4
July
days after
15th,
that. Yeah.
Right? How much do you think it's intentional for them to put the hearing 4 days before to make it unpredictable that maybe, just maybe, they're watching right now? Democrats would only do this assuming this is going to hurt Trump, right?
Right.
But reports just came out, Rob, if you can pull up the reports from CBS. In the month of April, he raised $50 million compared to $25 million Biden. Just in the first 14, 15 hours of what they announced, he's raised $53 million.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
You guys hear that? $53 million he's raised in less than 24 hours, okay? And this could end up being a $200, $300, $400 million next 4 weeks.
Well, with this trial, they've undone all of the re-examination of Trump of the last, let's say, year. People have been watching what's going on and figuring out what's going on, watching how he's behaved. I believe all of that was undone with this, because his numbers
have... You mean all the shit propaganda that they were trying to push about Trump? This seems like it looks like it was from Friday's Dave Smith and Chris Cuomo debate, which looks pretty interesting. I'm going to have to go check some of that out. I meant to watch it, but just didn't get to it after the whole Trump conviction and INFOWARS chaos that was going on over the weekend. I was kind of fixated on all that. But look, we got 50. He's so witty. 50 Cent reacts to Trump's $200 million post-conviction fundraiser, saying the world is almost over. Oh, bleak outlook from 50 Cent. 50 Cent believes the world is nearing its end after Donald Trump collected $200 million in donations just after 3 days after being convicted of a crime. The rap mogul expressed his thoughts on social media in a post that quickly went viral. On Saturday, 50 shared his response on Instagram alongside an account of the former president's staggering fundraising efforts. "Shake my head. Don't worry. The world is almost over," he wrote in the caption. "Just enjoy the moment and be happy." This came after Trump's son Eric revealed the astonishing number of donations during an appearance on Fox News Sunday. We are well over 70 million, just like we just saw him say. So this is good. Glad to see a massive outpouring of support for Donald Trump. You know, he doesn't need our money per se, but it makes a big statement and shows that the people have his back. 70% or 70 million from small donations, etc. That's huge. That's huge. So Fleckus Talks, the podcast, the best new podcast of all time, has been covering all of the causes for heart attacks that they're claiming. Every week, it's like there's a new cause for heart attacks as we see this massive rise from heart attacks from a certain thing that Oxford talked about this weekend. Well, we have a new thing that could be causing heart attacks. That's right, fatherhood might be bad for your heart, says a study. You have a kid, you will have a heart attack. This is fucking insane. They're jumping the shark all over the place. Why the New York Post? Why is the New York Post saying this? They're just trying to come up with any possible reason to ignore what's actually going on with the heart attacks. We had some other good developments in the House as well, as Jim Jordan submits legislative proposals to defund the lawfare by Jack Smith, Fani Willis, Alvin Bragg, and Letitia James. Also, no new money for FBI headquarters. You can read the full appropriations package over at this link. But let's take a little look at these screenshots. 5, withholding or limiting the use of grant funds. Prohibition on use of funds. None of the funds made available by this act or any other act shall be used or transferred to another federal agency, board, or commission to be used to fund awarded grants to a grant organization that is under investigation for any misuse of federal funds. None of the funds made available by this act or any other act should grant any program carried out for any grant program carried out by the Department of Justice may be used to fund a criminal prosecution against a former or current president or vice president. This prohibition for the use of funds shall also apply to the use of funds to consult, advise, or direct state prosecutors and state attorneys general engaged in a civil action or criminal prosecution of a former or current president or vice president. This prohibition on the use of funds shall also apply to funds received and reallocated by any state or local jurisdiction. None of the funds may be made available by this act or any other act shall be used or transferred to another federal agency, board, or commission to be used to consult, advise, or direct state prosecutors or state attorneys general in the civil action or criminal prosecution of a former or current president or vice president brought against them in state court. None of these funds made available by this act or any other act shall be used or transferred to another federal agency, board, or commission to be used to appoint or fund the office of a special counsel who has not been confirmed by the United States Senate, Jack Smith. They circumvented the typical process for appointing a special counsel. Allegedly, even Clarence Thomas has been talking about that, who's been not been confirmed by the United States Senate to serve as a U.S. attorney to bring criminal prosecution. Prohibition on use of funds. None of the funds made available in this act may be used to build the new FBI headquarters in Greenbelt, Maryland. That's right. Fuck you, FBI's asshole. Rescission on use of funds. What the hell does rescission mean? I'm going to have to look that one up. The $200 million made available to the General Services Administration for the Federal Bureau of Investigation's headquarters consolidation pursuant to H.R. 2882, 118th Congress is hereby rescinded. So hopefully this passes because we don't want any lawfare, like Elon says over here. Lawfare is not okay. Gunther Eagleman saying about fucking time. Yeah, let's not build a new fucking FBI building so that they can destroy all of us. Oh man, this is messed up. Innocent dogs being experimented on by NIH. We can't allow NIH to keep doing this type of bullshit, letting fleas eat the faces of beagles and intentionally causing crippling disabilities in dogs. These people are pure fucking evil, man. It's not an exaggeration.
It's pure evil!
Pure 100% evil.
100% evil.
Absolutely makes my blood boil to see this kind of stuff. So this is good. Hopefully get some traction. We need that to pass. Let's talk a little bit about the current status of the INFOWARS situation. So as we saw on Friday, Alex Jones came in, saw that the private security that he had hired, that the head of the security, who's been, friends with for a year and a half, was acting kind of cagey around him. And he was like, something's not going on. And he got the download. Apparently, he came to the conclusion they're going to be trying to shut us down tonight. So he asked the security guy, I heard they're bringing in extra security tonight. What's going on? And the guy was like, yeah, how'd you know about that? They're telling us we're going to be changing the locks and everything. I didn't think you were supposed to know. So Alex freaked out. He's been camped out at INFOWARS all weekend. Saturday morning, they showed up and tried to lock the doors, and he had his lawyers there and pointed out that there's no court order to do this. Basically, what happened is that as part of the bankruptcy process, the court appointed a CRO to take control of INFOWARS finances, not to run the company because it's still Alex Jones's company, but to be in charge of a lot of stuff. And this dude, Philip McGuire, I think his name is, he came in and immediately started sabotaging INFOWARS operations from the inside, immediately killed $12 million worth of advertising, and had continued just sabotaging them at every level. So Jones had complained about him. This guy had come in. Jones and crew had filed to the court like a couple months ago that they had this money they were trying to give to this guy so that it could be properly handled, and he wouldn't take it. So Jones filed this in court. Then a couple weeks later, the guy filed a complaint into court saying that Alex Jones had been embezzled this exact money, and the judge immediately told Alex. Alex called his dad, who's involved with this bankruptcy process as always. The CRO had denied it. The guy drunk, the CRO, called Alex, who recorded the conversation and released it on Saturday with the guy saying, I didn't do that. It's not a real filing. I would never say that about you and INFOWARS. And basically the filing was that Alex Jones is incompetent, that INFOWARS needs to be shut down. And so they showed up with the gang on Saturday and tried to shut it down. Alex wouldn't go along with it. He's been camped out all throughout the weekend trying to prevent this from happening. Today, there was an emergency hearing to handle this. Sandy Hook families asked the judge to liquidate INFOWARS completely after the feds attempted to shut them down on Friday and Saturday. Let's see what this article here says. Families of those killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting asked the judge to liquidate Alex Jones's media company, including INFOWARS, immediately after the legendary talk show host announced the federal government is orchestrating a forceful takeover of his broadcasting studios. What are the odds of that? And that's why I've got my Alex Jones was right t-shirt on today in support of Alex. As we know, the Sandy Hook trial was a bunch of bullshit. He didn't do any of the stuff that they claimed he did. He didn't send anybody over to their houses. He didn't do any of it. The judge issued a default judgment against Alex Jones, claiming that he was guilty before Alex was even allowed to offer a defense. He was not allowed to defend himself in court at all. They skipped the trial completely. The judge issued a default judgment claiming that Alex didn't participate with discovery, even though he sent millions of dollars, and basically just asked the jury to decide how guilty Alex is. Same thing they did to Rudy Giuliani, where he was not allowed to present evidence in his favor against Ruby and Shay Freeman, who allegedly took out ballots in boxes from underneath tables in Georgia in the 2020 election night. And, thanks, Threeper. Appreciate that, brother. And so they issued a default judgment against Rudy, I think, as well, and basically asked the jury to decide how guilty is he. Thanks, Threeper, for the super chat, for the Rumble rant. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you had a good weekend. And the same thing happened with Trump, with Judge Engoron, with that whole situation. It wasn't exactly the same thing. It was a jury decision notwithstanding, or whatever the technical term is. Another one of these tools in his toolbox that he has at his disposal to rig the results that he wants. So this is all bullshit. They wanted to create a chilling effect, which is why they issued the $1.65 billion judgment against Jones after not allowing him to even defend himself. It's all corrupt. So now, as the lawyers stated in court, they are just trying to shut down the company. They don't care about the money. The CRO, who is like an intermediary who's supposed to be working for the benefit of both INFOWARS and the families, has reneged on his fiduciary responsibility, allegedly, by shutting down the various revenue streams of INFOWARS. If the goal was to help INFOWARS repay some of that $1.65 billion debt to the families, you'd think they'd want INFOWARS being profitable to give these families the money, right? But that's not the case. They don't care about the money. This was all an operation to try to shut down INFOWARS. So the CRO has been trying to literally shut them down before the family's gotten any money, to prevent the families from being able to get any money, because they don't give a shit about the families. The families were dupes being used to attack Alex Jones, just like we saw with that Sound Investigations clip where they were investigating a bunch of pedos, and they ended up getting a CIA contractor, a former CIA guy who's basically sheep-dipped into this contracting agency now, a CIA operative, in my opinion, allegedly, who admitted that they steered the families into suing Alex Jones. It was part of a CIA operation to get rid of Alex Jones. This is fucking crazy. So this is like the Alamo of free speech potentially going on right now at INFOWARS, like I mentioned yesterday. Pete Chambers, former Green Beret colonel, and a bunch of Mac v. SOG Vietnam vets over there at the studio, probably right now still. Bayou Gator, is it time to replay the Bundy Ranch scene for Alex? That was a stirring time for Patriots against BLM. Interesting, yeah. Bundy Ranch over here, crazy standoff with Patriots. I don't remember all the details about what was going on with that, but we're seeing eerie parallels to a lot of dangerous moments in history. Alamo, Ruby Ridge, etc. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. Alex Jones's family was there at the Alamo. He's got a long history in Texas, as we all know. But if there was ever a place and a time to stand up for free speech and to hold the line, this is it. INFOWARS is the hill. So I want to see patriots surrounding that building, preventing it from being shut down. This is all color of law bullshit. So basically, there was a hearing recently where the judge realized that this guy was lying, that he filed this fake report about Alex Jones embezzling money when INFOWARS had already disclosed the situation to the judge. He excoriated the CRO. He set a hearing that's supposed to be less than 2 weeks from now to take INFOWARS out of bankruptcy, put Alex Jones back in charge. And in order to sabotage the operation before this CRO got removed or gets removed, potentially in this upcoming hearing, he decided to just try to kill the operation. And it's just complete madness. So this guy was about to get removed. Instead, he's like, no, we'll just shut it down. And the big thing, it seems like, oh, maybe it shouldn't be a big deal, right? They may shut it down for 2 weeks. He'll be back in 2 weeks, potentially, if this hearing happens and it's pulled out of bankruptcy and he's put back in control. But the way that INFOWARS works is that he's connected to like 150 different radio stations that broadcast his show. And if you shut down the station and prevent those radio stations from getting the broadcast, they're going to have to find new programming to fill the air. And it would effectively disconnect him from all of his various radio stations that he's connected with where he gets the message out. So it would be crippling to the INFOWARS model, and it would take who knows how long to even be able to get those radio stations back and connected, if it's even possible. It would be a crippling blow to INFOWARS. It wouldn't just be shut down for 2 weeks. He'd lose all these connections to various radio stations. So let's see, where were we here? They want to shut down and liquidate INFOWARS immediately. Jones previously asked the judge to provide time to reorganize his business as the Sandy Hook family has demanded $1.5 billion. They were awarded in the outlandish chilling effect verdict that was purely designed to scare people into not saying the truth about things. On Sunday, lawyers for families filed an emergency motion in bankruptcy court in Houston, doubling down on the concerted effort to shut down INFOWARS. Free Speech Systems, the parent company of INFOWARS, has, quote, no prospect of developing a reorganization plan that would be approved by the court and has, quote, failed to demonstrate any hope of beginning to satisfy their legal claims, attorneys for the Sandy Hook families wrote. Well, that's awfully convenient considering the CRO that was put in charge immediately started cutting the revenue streams, making sure that INFOWARS wouldn't be able to pay off any of the debt. A hearing in Free Speech Systems' bankruptcy case was slated for today to address the plaintiff's dispute. Jones warned on a live emergency broadcast on Sunday that federal agents could put locks on the studio's doors, liquidate all broadcasting assets amid the family's bankruptcy court filings. Dr. Simon Godek over the weekend posted on X saying that he has a highly professional studio down in the Brazilian jungle, which he's offering to Alex for free. If INFOWARS does get shut down, we could have a pirate radio broadcast operating from the Brazilian jungle, theoretically, with Alex at the helm of that, where he's out of the reach, potentially, of the legal system here in the U.S. So props to Simon Godek for offering that. That was really nice of him. But this is all messed up. INFOWARS host said he even spent the night in his studio. He spent the night Friday. He spent the night Saturday. He was spending the night again last night. And this is just completely insane. I don't know if we have any updates on what happened at the trial earlier today. It was supposed to be broadcast, the 11:30 hearing, but I haven't been able to determine if anything happened yet. But INFOWARS was still broadcasting this afternoon, so that's good. War Room was live. Let's see. Today from the INFOWARS. Oh, okay. Here we go. We got Health Ranger over here. Mike Adams. INFOWARS survives today's emergency hearing. An emergency court hearing took place around 11 a.m. Central in the U.S. District and Bankruptcy Court in the Southern District of Texas under bankruptcy judge Christopher M. Lopez. Jones has said that Lopez has actually been very fair and honest throughout this whole process. So hopefully the case is in good hands. During the hearing, government attorneys demanded that the court, quote, cease operations at Free Speech Systems, which would mean putting locks on all the doors, firing all the employees, ultimately liquidating INFOWARS broadcast assets. Judge Lopez declined, yes, confirming that INFOWARS may stay operational until the larger scheduled hearing on the 14th of June, which is supposed to potentially bring him out of bankruptcy, give him back control of the company, which would be amazing, though Jones, as of last night, was not confident. He's pretty convinced that they're going to be shut down within a month. Think about this, guys. They convict Trump on a Thursday. They try to shut down INFOWARS on a Friday. Within the next 45 days, we could see INFOWARS shut down and President Trump put behind bars, attacking the former president, persecuting the leading opponent of Biden in the race, while simultaneously shutting down the tip of the spear who speaks out against this type of stuff. We are in the middle of a communist overthrow in this country, and we can't allow it to happen. So I want to see patriots lined up outside of INFOWARS. I want to see that place locked down. If the left can form autonomous zones like the Chaz or the CHOP and make autonomous zones on campuses, all at colleges all around the country, we can make an autonomous zone around INFOWARS, barricade that place, and prevent injustice from occurring. Just speaking theoretically, hypothetically, FBI is asshole. I'm not actually calling for anything, but wouldn't that make sense? Don't we deserve one autonomous zone as well? We need to preserve free speech. And if this is the hill that they're trying to shut free speech down on, how am I not following Health Ranger? We need to support INFOWARS right now. Right now. This is major. Let's see, where were we? Judge Lopez declined, saying they can stay open until the scheduled hearing on the 14th. This is good because the dude is in control. The CRO, this corrupt CRO, is in control of INFOWARS bank accounts. So he basically commandeered control of the private security company, saying, oh, well, you're going to shut this place down. Otherwise, you're not getting your paychecks. And he was going to keep security active with the closed facility to make sure that it couldn't be retaken, basically. This is nonsense. Several people were present at the hearing. Transcripts are available for ordering at the transcript link at the court's procedures page. If you want that, it's available at this link. Judge Lopez will be making a final decision on the fate of INFOWARS on June 14th. I think he sees the corruption that's going on, and hopefully he will be able to, hopefully he will have the conscience and the will to prevent this from being shut down. Let's see, where is the link? There was a Alex Jones actually played the recording of this guy claiming that, oh, I didn't make that filing, So we have on record this guy's duplicitous action. And then after he claimed that he didn't make that filing, saying that Jones was incompetent, next week he testified in court to the filing that he had filed. Apparently, Jones was warned about this guy when he came in, the CRO. And so he was advised never be alone with him, never, et cetera. So this guy shows up every once in a while, and Alex has been like, oh, let me get some coffee. He goes out of the room, starts recording on his phone, comes back. He's got this guy on audio trying to get him to commit crimes, apparently, and he says that he's going to be releasing that as well. So this shit is getting real crazy. Important, Judge Lopez has been described by Alex as a fair judge. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt to insult or threaten the court or Judge Lopez. Mike Adams says this is good advice. This judge is the bankruptcy judge, not the judge involved in the Sandy Hook trial in Connecticut. Important for everybody. We need to be, supporting this judge who seems to be doing the right thing. He could have shut down INFOWARS today, but he recognized that the CRO doesn't have that authority. It's not in his job description to be able to shut down the operation. He has a fiduciary responsibility, if anything, to the Sandy Hook parent families to make sure that they're receiving money, which means he should be trying to make INFOWARS as profitable as possible. They don't care about the money for the families. Like I said, they just want to shut down free speech and shut down resistance against the communist takeover that we're in the middle of which we're in the middle. Damn it, you're a federal agent. Never ended a sentence in a preposition. Obviously, I'm joking about the federal agent part. At stake, if Sandy Hook families are to receive any payouts at all from the $1+ billion judgment, INFOWARS must stay active, viable, and profitable, so that profits can be redirected to those families. If INFOWARS is shut down and liquidated, all revenue streams will be terminated. The sell-off of equipment will be a small one-time revenue event, and the Sandy Hook families will get essentially nothing. It goes to show you this was never about the Sandy Hook families. They were only pawns in a larger anti-free speech operation, just as we saw from that undercover sound investigations video of that CIA clown spilling the beans. The chief restructuring officer in this case, CRO, named Patrick McGill, I said Philip earlier, it's Patrick McGill, was appointed by the court to oversee the financial activities of INFOWARS. Alex accuses McGill of terminating $12 million in INFOWARS advertising revenue. We've reached out to McGill for statement or response, and so far no response has been received. Anyone out there still claiming Alex is fabricating all this is flatly uninformed. The attempted government shutdown of INFOWARS is very real. The threat is imminent, and there is a very high chance that INFOWARS may be closed on June 14th, which means INFOWARS may just have 2 weeks remaining on air, broadcasting from their studios. Man, it was really upsetting and emotional over the weekend as patriots came out of the woodwork to support Alex Jones on his live emergency Saturday broadcast, breaking all this down. They had General Flynn, Mike Adams, you name it. Everybody was showing up on the broadcast, giving their support to Alex, who was drinking. Unfortunately, he's been under a lot of stress. By the end of the broadcast, he was drunk and crying and emotional about them shutting down his baby. But it's like an Obi-Wan Kenobi type situation here, I think, that, you know, when in episode 4 of Star Wars, nerd alert, you know, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader face off. The last time when we last met, you were the master and I was but the learner, Darth Vader says. Now I am the master. Only a master of evil, Darth. And then he goes on to say, if you strike me down now, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. And that's the same thing right now with INFOWARS. I think that if they strike him down, if they shut down INFOWARS, it'll only draw more attention. It'll only draw more of a backlash. It'll be the Trump effect. They convict him. $200 million come out of the woodwork in support. Jones will only get more, only get bigger, more notorious. His words will only have weight. People have been saying forever, well, if what you were saying was true, then why don't they try to shut you down? If they shut him down, it's vindication. This is the dumbest plan they could possibly have. They're only going to make things worse, make things more obvious, exacerbate the problem, and turn Alex into a martyr, which will amplify his power exponentially. Continuing, if INFOWARS is silenced, this will be entirely the result of an FBI, DOJ-led operation to recruit Sandy Hook families into civil action lawsuit that should have been tossed under First Amendment protections from the very start. Yep, he didn't do anything wrong. The entire purpose of this years-long effort is now obvious: to silence Alex Jones and shutter INFOWARS permanently. The government may very well succeed in these efforts on June 14th. If INFOWARS survives the June 14th hearing, it is likely INFOWARS will remain online through the November election. Share this post and stay tuned, as Health Ranger will do his best to keep us all updated on the latest events while the world rallies to save INFOWARS from being dismantled by the United States government. Whether you agree or disagree with the things Alex says, if you are an American, you hopefully agree with his right to say those things. And if you you hopefully agree it's wrong for government to target independent media outlets for termination and financial ruin, which is exactly what happened in this case. What the government is doing today to INFOWARS could be turned around and used to target BuzzFeed-type left-wing media organizations in the future, depending on who is in the White House at the time. Very dangerous. This is not the America we once knew. Harrison Smith, thanking Mike for his breakdown. Man, it was emotionally racking to be on, watching the broadcasts over the weekend. It was sad seeing Alex Jones really upset by everything, and it hurt me in my heart. So I want to see Alex Jones succeed. Let's not allow this chaos to keep happening. Let's hop over to real quick before we get into General Flynn and everything. This here shows you exactly how big the backfire is for Trump, as we saw Google search results to donate to Trump surpassing search results for boobs. Leading up to the weekend. You can't make this stuff up.
Well, there's a lot of men out there. I'm using that term very loosely because these people are all shaped like chicks. They weigh about 75 pounds. They got really limp wrists.
Emo Wars.
But anyhow, they're celebrating the 84 billion totally legitimate convictions of Donald Trump.
Look at this clown. This fucking deranged white liberal woman.
I know you idiots ain't into boobs, but the rest of us are, and this has backfired so bigly that Donald Trump's search on Google for how to donate him briefly surpassed the search for boobs on Google. You fuckers are in a lot of trouble. Well, there's a lot of men out there. I'm using that term very loosely.
Big trouble. when search results surpass the searches for boobs, you know that shit is going down. Let's hear what General Flynn has to say about some of this stuff. Got to jump ahead to 2:51:50 in this video I got over here from the Saturday broadcast.
I love decision, given whatever it is that they do, and stand our ground until there's a decision made about the person that we want as the president of the United States. I mean, I love this idea about holding.
Yeah,
let's
that's
hold
serious
a
now,
goddamn
Tron.
convention on the 4th of July weekend. Screw these people. We don't need to go up
That's
to
right,
Milwaukee.
Ed. What about the
You know,
foobs?
and operate like
And
the
the moobs?
conventional norms are, and do what the GOP is telling us. Screw that. I mean, so that's just, I'm throwing that out there because
That's right.
I saw that. I thought it was a good idea.
We have some rally in Dallas, Texas, or wherever it just certifies
There you
us.
go. Yep.
Right. What's going to happen if they're not allowing Trump to go to the RNC? If they put him in jail or something, we got to hold our own convention. Fuck the RNC. Certify his ass ourselves.
I mean, so whatever ideas, I'm not there's a lot more smarter people on this thing than I am. But
Oh, really?
I would just
General
tell you,
Flynn, who are they?
Well, we gotta have some ideas about what to do, and I do think that there's some great ideas out there, and we ought to think about some of these things that people are proposing, and then let's just execute. I mean, to me, it's like the more we stand our ground, the more we are communicating.
No, you're
with
right.
each
You
other,
just said it.
the more that they're
Execution
here.
is our will. Execute and just say we're done. This is it.
Yep, this is it. I mean, enough is enough of this bullshit. I mean, this is insane. They're destroying the country. This is not. They're taking away our rights. There is a small group of people inside of the government that are operating with a larger group outside the government, and they mean to finish up their objective, which is to turn this country into a communist Marxist regime.
This is not an exaggeration. General Flynn is not being hyperbolic. We are in the midst of a communist overthrow. We cannot allow this to happen.
And basically, I mean, this is for real. This is it. We don't. There are the globalist side. On the globalist side, there are people overseas that have said this is going to be the last U.S. presidential election this coming November, if they have it. That's not my words. That's words coming out of the World Economic Forum. So, I mean, these are some very serious times, and we need serious people. But like I said, Alex and everybody listening, stay steady. Don't believe the first reports. Get in there and figure out what's happening. Communicate across the horizon with everybody. Find those people that you can trust. Get involved in your local communities.
Bottom line.
That's right. Unique Preppin. He's talking about what you're talking about. We need to develop local communities so we can survive this thing. Community is key here. We need to develop local networks that we can rely on, people that we can trust, so that we can make it through this. This is going to be a mess.
General Flynn,
God help
us. This is an epic battle for the Republic. This is here. This is a once in a 5 generation thing. It's happening. I want to see your movie. I can't wait to see it. I want to get you in the studio. I want to see the movie as soon as I can. How do we find the movie again? How do people watch it online?
You could tell he's a little bit drunk here already. After Flynn leaves, he goes off screen to take a piss and comes back and he's pretty sloshed. Can't blame him. He's under a lot of stress. Let's jump ahead to 302:30, where I thought this was kind of funny, but also kind of scary. Ian Crossland shows up on the X Spaces broadcast, and he apparently is going to be joining Alex at his Alamo as well. Let's listen to Ian Crossland calling.
We don't want to fight because we know we're going to win. We don't want to put you people.
Oh, in a brief minute, Harrison had a good little monologue here. That's right. We don't want to fight because we don't want to have to do it. But we are the more powerful side of this. We have all the guns. We don't want to have to fight because we know we'll win.
Through that, it's they really don't.
They're demanding it though. They're demanding it. Yeah. They got to be run over. So okay, well, you got to get what you want, son. I mean, I've got everything right here, and the dumbasses think shut the show down so he doesn't release it. You dumb bastards! I released 1,000 places. I'm Alex Jones, you dumbass. It's just so stupid.
Poor Alex, who's so stressed.
Well, I think
they want to imagine they got the power.
I think the reality is probably in the next 30 days, you'll see INFOWARS get shut down, and you'll see Donald Trump. Well, I guess the next 60 days, you'll see INFOWARS shut down, Donald Trump in jail. I think it's probably what people are going to have to see.
And then World War III and the bird flu can proceed without interruption.
Yeah.
Bro.
Probably what we're all about to witness.
Bro.
Let's go to more people on Spaces.
Before we moderated the infamous zero hedge debate that's simple on Timcast, go ahead and unmute yourself. You've been patiently waiting with your hand raised and say what you've got to say.
This is hilarious.
Thanks, man. Can you hear me okay?
I got to get the hurl cam ready for a moment here.
Yes, Ian, we love you. How did your colon cleanse
I love
go?
you too, Alex. Fucking so good, dude. I released like 4 feet of mucoid plaque, Alex. I took pictures. I'll show you.
No, he texted me about his colon cleanse. We had a little private.
Sorry, I had to play that. I thought it was too funny.
Dude, yeah, literally a liver flush, dude. That's where we're at. It's like time to heal your body, man. I mean, we got to become the best tools that we can be. Our bodies, we got to use them for good. We're radio receivers for light, for God's
DNA
energy,
proven to be an antenna.
Firstly, you're gonna be okay. And what happens? What happened? Why are they trying to close it down?
We're winning the court cases. Our appeals are winning. They just had a big victory in Connecticut overturning stuff. And I don't know. I'm like,
they can't allow it. They got to shut it down.
And everything's there. And like, I get here and I picked up weird stuff was going on. I saw security running around all scared. I said, oh, you're shutting us down today. Because I picked it up. They go, how do you know that? I said, boom, I got you. And then it was just like, it all just goes from there because it's all like green light, attack. So that's what happened.
Okay, I'm going to come out there tomorrow and sit in with you for whatever. It's for the near future and just make some stew. And
Ian is such a goofball, but mad props, Ian, coming out to InfoWars, standing up for Alex. I appreciate that. Big time. Alex had they talked about a good metaphor for what's going on and how they can't fight us on an even playing field. So they have to gladiator us. Listen to this.
I can't help but cry because the energy's so high.
That's it's an incredible thing. And so if we go down, we'll know it's not because people stopped watching us. All the lefties, nobody's watching them. Nobody's advertising on them. Nobody cares. We've only gotten more popular. We've only gotten more powerful. And they can't handle that, and they want to cheat to shut us down. So it's like you're going into the ring with a boxer that you can't beat, and so you poison his drink before the round, or you stab him in the side, like in Gladiator. They can't compete with us on an even ground, so they're cheating to win, and it's really
like we've got General Flynn, the former head of Defense Intelligence, on talking about it. We've got it all happening right now, and these idiots think like I don't want to burn.
Right, General Flynn came on. The former head of Defense Intelligence, you got to take it seriously when he says that the State Department, the Department of Defense, the intelligence community have been overtaken by communists. He straight up said that earlier in the interview. You got to take it seriously. We're under a communist assault. Let's move on to our next topic because we got to keep it moving. But thoughts and prayers going out to InfoWars, wishing them strength. We want them to succeed. This is the information Alamo. This is the hill we need to make a stand on. That's my opinion. Fauci admits he made up tyrannical COVID guidelines, including child masking and social distancing, were based on mere assumptions, not science. This is from over the weekend. Dr. Fauci, or Mr. Fauci, according to MTG, the former director of NIH, admitted that some of the most stringent COVID-19 guidelines, including social distancing and masking, were not rooted in concrete scientific evidence. The admission came during a comprehensive interview with the House Select Committee on the coronavirus pandemic earlier this year, details of which were released ahead of Dr. Fauci's scheduled testimony earlier today. According to the transcript released by Republicans during the January interviews, Dr. Fauci disclosed that the widely enforced 6 feet apart social distancing guideline just sort of appeared and was not based on any data. Should have been obvious to anybody paying attention that it made no fucking sense at the time. I was beside myself with this nonsense, refusing to comply whenever possible. Ridiculous. This guideline had significant repercussions leading to the closure of schools and small businesses, obviously. However, ironically, Fauci permitted the George Floyd protests. Remember, he said that there was no threat from those. Here's the transcript. Majority Counsel, do you recall when discussions regarding kind of the at least 6 foot threshold began? Social distancing, in other words. The 6 foot in the school? 6 foot overall. I mean, 6 foot was applied at businesses. Yeah, Fauci says, Majority Counsel. It was applied in schools. It was applied here. At least how the messaging was applied was that 6 foot distancing was the distance that needed to be. I don't recall, Fauci says. It just sort of happened. It just sort of appeared. I don't recall like a discussion of whether it should be 5 or 6 or whatever. It was just that 6 foot is. Did you see any studies that supported 6 feet. I was not aware of studies that, in fact, that would be a very difficult study to do. It was all bullshit. And the fucking lemmings just went along with it. I was screaming about this, like, ruining family holidays, which I'm not sorry for because I was right. Francis Collins, former director of the National Institutes of Health, admitted in a closed-door interview earlier this year that he did not see any scientific evidence that social distancing was a proven method of containing the virus. You have to be an idiot to believe it. The controversy extends beyond social distancing. During the pandemic, Americans were subjected to strict mask mandates with penalties imposed on those who, imposed on those who didn't comply. These mandates covered everyone from adults entering businesses to children in schools. Now it appears these directives were also issued without a solid foundation in science. Imagine my shock. But you can't question the science TM, even when they don't have any science and they're just issuing dictates that make no sense. When questioned about the evidence supporting masking of children, Dr. Fauci's memory was unclear. Well, we have him in private emails saying masks don't work, and then going out in public and saying, well, yeah, wear 2 masks, you fucking clown. Below is another part of the COVID Select Subcommittee transcript. Masking. Dr. Fauci testified that he did not recall any supporting evidence for masking children. Concerningly, mask wearing has been associated with learning loss and severe speech development issues in America's children. Majority Counsel, do you recall reviewing any studies or data supporting masking for children? You know, I might have, Mitch, but I don't recall specifically that I did. I might have. Majority Counsel, since there's been a lot of studies that have come out since the pandemic started, but specifically on this, there have been significant on kind of like the learning loss and speech and development issues that have been associated with particularly young children wearing masks while they're growing up. They can't see their teacher talk and can't learn how to form words. Have you followed any of those studies? Dr. Fauci, no, but I believe there are a lot of conflicting studies too, that there are those that say, yes, there is an impact, and there are those that say there's not. I think that's still up in the air. The only thing that should be up into the air is Dr. Fauci, after due process, being launched into a volcano, launched through the air. That's what I want to see. Fauci up in the air, launch him from a cannon into a volcano after due process. FBI's asshole, fuck you. You can read the key takeaways of the new memo here. So there you have it. Time and time again, those of us, including the Gateway pundit who questioned every aspect of the COVID pandemic, from the lockdown regimes and mask mandates all the way through to vaccines and potential treatments, have been proven correct. U.S. Senator Rand Paul, ranking member of the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, joined Maria Bartiromo to discuss Fauci's upcoming hearing on Monday. Let's take a little listen to this.
So Dr. Fauci is going to be testifying tomorrow. What are you expecting?
Well, you know, our investigation has confirmed that he did indeed lie. He committed a felony. He said that they did not fund, that the NIH did not fund gain-of-function, dangerous research in China. We now know that to be untrue. We know he committed a felony. But what we've discovered now is that there was a massive cover-up from the very beginning. There was a behind-the-scenes effort to change the opinion of people. Many of the Fauci colleagues all believed that the virus did come from the lab. Their opinions were all changed, but then all evidence was then covered up. They began using burner phones. They began using couriers. They said, we can't do things electronically. I can take things by hand to his
Good call,
house.
Ed.
It sounds more like the CIA than the NIH, but it's unbelievable the amount of things that went on.
I like that.
They say, oh, we're safe now. I've deleted all those emails. I think we're safe now. What in the world would they actually mean by we think we're safe now? So there was a massive cover-up, and there's so many people that need to be interviewed. In addition to Fauci, we have David Morenz, who worked for him for 20 years. We have the FOIA lady, the woman at the IT woman at NIH, who was explaining to them how to avoid FOIA and how to break the law. She needs to be deposed. There's all kinds of stones that could be unturned, but ultimately the buck stops with Anthony Fauci. He was in.
Boom. So now Fauci is spilling the beans. Let's check out this clip here. Oh, after this brief commercial interlude, I'm going to have to start using Brave browser. I was told to bypass these commercials so I can appear to be at least appear to be more professional live stream.
Belongs behind bars and prosecute him. unforgivable, belongs behind bars, and prosecute him are just some of the messages being shared by Americans today after it was revealed Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is the nation's top infectious disease expert and chief medical advisor to the White House, admitted he can't remember reviewing any studies or data that supported masking children during the pandemic. Republicans shared the transcript of their sit-down interview with Dr. Fauci from earlier this year, where he also revealed the 6-foot social distancing rule sort of just appeared and he couldn't recall how it came about.
Ridiculous. So, of course, he had his hearing today, was being mocked in court in the hearing by a J6er who was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He stole the show during the Fauci hearing. His reaction to Fauci's alleged threat discussion will have you rolling. Making faces behind it. Look at this. Just the perfect. He got seated right behind Fauci. Hilariously, Brandon Fellows decided to channel his inner comedian by trolling Mr. Anthony Fauci in the committee's cameras. J6er stole the show on Monday. Fauci, the former director of NIH, was testifying about the origins of COVID, lockdown measures, and misleading medical advice. Fauci had been widely criticized for his role in advocating draconian lockdowns. He later said, "Oh, I never recommended lockdowns," when he totally did. Remember that clip we played where it's like him saying, "I never recommended lockdowns," and then another clip, "Well, I think I recommend locking down." Like, this dude is such a clown. Unnecessary masking, social distancing mandates, and for spreading false info about the Wuhan lab leak theory was met with hostility from office members. Shouts of Nuremberg 2.0. We need something better than Nuremberg, though. Something without confessions coerced by torture. We need a real court. You killed my grandmother, echoed throughout the room as Fauci took his seat, according to Dr. Andrew Huff, former vice president of Eco Health Alliance, Army veteran, and the author of The Truth About Wuhan, How I Uncovered the Biggest Lie in History, from Simon & Schuster. Wow. Fauci sits down. People in the audience are saying, Nuremberg 2.0, you killed my grandmother. Yeah, he's a bastard. Rep. Deborah Dingle, that's an unfortunate name, then asked Fauci about the death threats he had allegedly received. As serial liar, Fauci began to answer. Brandon Fellows, who was convicted in August of 1 felony count of obstruction of an official proceeding and 4 misdemeanors for his role in the J6 event, stole the spotlight. Positioned behind Fauci and within clear view of the camera, Fellows made faces that quickly became an internet sensation.
So, Dr. Fauci, can you please share with us the nature of the threats you have received since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, there have been everything from harassments by emails, texts, letters of myself, my wife, my 3 daughters. There have been credible death threats leading to the arrests of 2 individuals, and credible death threats mean someone who clearly was on their way to kill me. And it's required my having protective services essentially all the time.
Oh, poor you, Dr. Fauci. Yeah, you're just, partially responsible for the deaths of millions of people, allegedly. For purposes, for reasons, as a result of things I can't say on YouTube. Let's continue.
It is very troublesome to me. It is much more troublesome because they've involved my wife and my 3 daughters.
Ivan Raiklin on the left.
At these moments, how do you...
Oh, maybe you should have thought about that before you fucking lied and participated in this this craziness. You were setting yourself up for this. I'm not saying that death threats are justified, but I am saying that they're a natural result of behaving like an evil gremlin.
How do you feel? Keep your mic on.
Terrible.
Do you continue to receive threats today?
Yes, I do. Every time someone gets up and says I'm responsible for the death of people throughout the world, the death threats go up.
So, Dr.
Well, yeah, that's karma, bitch. Scumbag. I'm not sure what.
But Dr. Fauci, can you please share with us the...
Whatever. The video quickly went viral with many internet users applauding the 29-year-old fellows for his audacious trolling of Fauci during the hearing. One user wrote, "I have no idea who this guy behind Fauci is, but he definitely deserves a beer." Everybody should support his legal fund. I'm sure he's still probably fighting this. Another wrote, he thought he was at the Hunter Biden crack hearing. That's right. Apparently the jury is being picked for Hunter Biden today. That's pretty interesting. Third added, "I owe this guy a beer and a handshake." Others speculated, let's see how quickly one of the squad tries to prevent legislation on face making during testimonies. After mocking Fauci, J6 political prisoner Brandon Fellows told Fauci that he belonged in prison and was subsequently escorted out of the congressional hearing. I salute you, patriot. That's the type of energy we need. Here he is being removed. I salute you, sir. Thanks to the 65 people watching us live right now, 66. Appreciate all of you guys. Make sure to smash that like button. This guy is a legend. Brandon Fellows, who described his incarceration as awesome and very fun, was sentenced to 3 years this year for his role in the events of J6. How was he at this hearing? WUSA 9 reported, "It's time for you to grow up." Judge sentences New York chimney repairman to 3 years in prison. Oh, he's a chimney sweep. That's cool. Federal judge repeatedly admonished the New York repairman for his contemptuous behavior and utter lack of remorse. Good. Don't pretend to be remorseful. Fuck these people. Thursday, before sentencing him to just over 3 years. This was pretty recently. So yeah, good stuff. Glad to see him doing that. MTG refusing to call him doctor. Fuck Fauci. Fuck all these people. Let's not play along with this bullshit. These people are pure evil. Oh, poor Dr. Fauci. Poor Fauci. Let's jump into another topic. Over here, we have a Clinton judge sentencing a 75-year-old pro-life activist with significant health issues to 2 years in prison for peacefully protesting an abortion clinic. Outside an abortion clinic. You guys have probably heard this story, but now she has been convicted or sentenced to 2 years. Biden DOJ convicted Paula Harlow last year of federal conspiracy against rights and face offensives for peacefully protesting an abortion clinic D.C. back in 2020. This is straight up communist takeover, guys. We're not allowed to protest against baby murder. What timeline is this? U.S. District Judge Colleen Collar-Cotterly. Fucking crazy name is that? A Clinton appointee sentenced Harlow to 24 months in prison. She was the 10th defendant to be sentenced by the Biden regime related to the peaceful abortion protest. Paulette Harlow, who's 75 years old, participated in a peaceful protest at an abortion clinic in 2020. Didn't hurt anybody. But you're not allowed to have a First Amendment anymore. Here's a video of what she's been convicted for.
In particular, Lord, we beg you for the babies about to be aborted. Please inspire these parents to keep their babies. And for those who are brutally aborted, we beg you to have mercy on them and bring them straight to heaven. The snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. Do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, crush into hell Satan and all the evil spirit.
It's totally fine for leftists to, besiege federal courthouses for 60 plus days in a row in Portland, or take over houses of Congress in various states, flooding the buildings and interfering with official proceedings. But no, you can't protest at a baby murder facility. Nope. It's not allowed. You go to jail, Grandma. This is not America, guys. We no longer have a free country. This is a constitutional crisis.
Forcefully removing those
This
who
is
are
what
trying to save
happens
them.
when you
Please
go
share the
against the
video.
commies.
So
It's
just
pure,
now we let a guy
unadulterated,
walk through the door.
100%
His partner
evil.
is in there going in for an abortion today. We made a deal with him that he would give her pro-life literature and talk to her, and that's why we allowed him to go behind the door.
Okay.
There are girls in the back right now because of the violent response of the abortion workers. That's unfortunate, but we are not letting Santangelo in this abortion facility.
Yeah, exactly.
Under
Creeper.
no circumstances
Margaret
will he be
Sanger,
allowed to
founder of
kill
Planned Parenthood, who
anyone.
described blacks
In
as
2011,
weeds.
he killed a woman.
It's just a coincidence that a majority of these abortion centers just happen to be in urban black neighborhoods, communities. Just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. You know what? I think we're going to have to ditch YouTube because we're going to get into some mRNA type stuff coming up here. So let me post the link to the Rumble broadcast over in the YouTube and Facebook chats. Hopefully, if you're watching over on either of those platforms, you'll be able to join us. I think it's only Mama Mac, Crazy B, and maybe Gator or Ed hanging over on YouTube. But but anyway, we're going to have to ditch YouTube and Facebook and go Rumble and exclusive. So sorry for ditching you. Hopefully you guys can join us. Click the link. I also have the link to the Rumble broadcast already pre-positioned in the video description. So copy, paste, open a new browser tab, whatever you got to do. Sorry to have to ditch you if you can't make it, but we'll catch you on the flip side. Until then, let's get ready.